नमो भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवी सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भगवत सेवया
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकीम्। So thank you, dear devotees, for joining today. So we are going to start a new section, new chapter in our devotional path. This is called Shikshashtakam, a systematic study of Shikshashtakam. So we will go over the introduction of Shikshashtakam today to understand what this is all about, where it's come from, what is the significance of Shikshashtakam, who combined it. We'll request please mute if you can. Okay, so we will see today that what is the significance of Shikshashtakam, how it is applicable to us. So we'll go over the, this is the introduction class today. So then we will be having a very detailed section of the Shikshashtakam in coming days. The first 2 verses itself, we will have 4 sections. So please tune and be there to understand this very detailed and very clearly. So before we start, let's all together, if you can unmute, and together repeat after me. Namo Mahavadanyaya.
Namo Mahavadanyaya.
Krishna Prema Pradayade.
Krishna Prema Pradayate.
Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya. Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya.
कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य
Namne Gauratrishe Namaha.
नाम्ने गौरत्रिषे नमः.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who is more magnanimous than any other avatara, even Krishna himself, because he is bestowing freely what no one else has ever given, pure love of Krishna. So this is the prayer that we every day we pray to the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so that we get the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to progress in our bhakti. So we'll begin with this prayer, and we also invoke the invocation prayers. Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stabidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadadi Supadandigam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Udabadagamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunadhanidam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaidam Savadudam Parijana Sahidam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalitam Shri Vishakhanidamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpade Gobesha Gopiga Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhano Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupasya Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Padidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimade Lokanath Swami Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswata Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So as we take the introduction class today for Shikshashtakam, you'll understand who is compiled this Shikshashtakam, who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As we all know that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu compiled this Shikshashtakam. Anybody knows what are the other compilation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Can anybody unmute and say? Anybody else? Okay. There are no other compilations of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This 8 instructions, Shiksha means instructions, Ashtagam means 8. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu compiled these 8 verses that reveals, that describes the entire essence of all the scriptures. Not only that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reveals the reason for appearance on this world, and the reason was to propagate the holy name, Yuga Dharma, Sankirtan Yajna in this world. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu compiled this Shikshashtakam in such a way that it's revealing that in this age of Kali, the holy name is the prime benediction for all the humanity. So let us understand who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is revealed in various scriptures, his appearance, who the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. The first and the foremost, in every case that if we hear anything, so we ask this question, what is the scriptural evidence? Where it is revealed, where it is mentioned that it's not that somebody from mental concoction saying that, oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So who is this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and why everybody is saying that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Personality of Godhead? So various scriptures reveals that, dear devotees, the first and the foremost scripture is Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, and 32nd verse, it is revealing that Krishna Varnam Trisha Akrishnam Sango Pangasta Parshadam Yajnai Sankirtana Praye Rajandi Sumedasaha. Translation: in the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. Please note that Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vedavyas, 5,000 years ago, compiled Srimad Bhagavatam. In that, just beginning of the Kali Yuga, just end of the Dwapara Yuga, Srila Vyasadeva compiled Srimad Bhagavatam. In that Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva mentioned that the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this age of Kali, and he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. And you can see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement, the Sankirtan Yajna, is thousands of followers, thousands of very close associates, and Parshadas, one who is very close to the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than the great personalities of the friends and the Sakhas and the Gopas and the Gopis of the Krishna himself. That we can see here in this verse. Like that, there are so many other verses which reveals that Srila Rupa Goswami himself compiles that, and in Srimad Bhagavatam also reveals that. Yeah, and then and what it is mentioned that, let me go back to the previous one, and it is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, 5th chapter, 32nd verse. Srila Prabhupada also quotes this from the Srila Jiva Goswami, was explained this verse in his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Krama Sandarbha, wherein he says that Lord Krishna also appears with a golden complexion. That golden Lord Krishna is Lord Chaitanya, who is worshipped by intelligent men in this age. That is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam by Gargamuni. You know that the Gargamuni, the spiritual master of the Nanda Baba and Yashoda, and they were the spiritual master of the Nanda Baba and the dynasty of Nanda Baba. The Gargamuni, who is very great personality at that time, said that although the child Krishna was blackish, Gargamuni was saying, he also appears in 3 other colors: red in the Satya Yuga, and white Satya Yuga, and yellow. He exhibited his white and red complexion in Satya Yuga ages respectively. He did not exhibit the remaining color, yellow, gold, until he appeared as Lord Chaitanya, who is known as Gaurahari. So we can see that, dear devotees, these are the very scriptural references, and this was all compiled thousands of years back. So very important to understand this, and many times you have this confusion when you say Gaura Chandra, Gaurahari, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Lord himself. Many people have this doubt. So in order to clear this doubt, there are various scriptural references that we should understand. Then Vishnu Sahasrama also says that, many times you heard this one, Suvarna Varna Hemangu Varnagas Chandanagadi. Suvarna Varna means he has golden complexion. And this was also, Vyasadeva was another compilation of the thousands names of the Supreme Lord, is called the Sahasranama. The Sahasranama also Vyasadeva compiled about the color of the Supreme Lord. And also it's mentioned that Suvarna Varna Hemanga, he is in the golden complexion, and his appearance of molten gold. And this was referring to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also in many scriptures, even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, when Brahmadev was, stolen all the calves and the gopas into the cave, and then later became realized that this is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then, then mentioned that in order to, because of Brahmadev was little puffed up, then Brahmadev now wanted to see that the same Lord in such a mood that because of Brahmadev was puffed up and stolen those calves and the gopas and the gopis, later lamented and then requested to the Supreme Lord that I would like to be your servant. I would like to serve in such a humble mode. That time, Krishna also showed that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's golden form to Brahmadeva and mentioned that will also appear along with me in the Kali Yuga. That's why the Srivas Thakur is also the appearance of the Brahmadev. The Haridas Thakur is the appearance of the Brahmadev in the age of when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. And then also Srivas Thakur, Naradev appeared. Naradev also was requested the same to see that the golden form of Krishna. Also Srivas Thakur, Naradev appeared as the Srivas Thakur. So like that, there are so many scriptural references here, as we can see that the Vishnu Sahasranam, Sannyasakrit Chamatsaha, Sannyasakrit. Lord will take that sannyasa, the form of sannyasa. And that's also referring that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's. And then another scripture is Garuda Purana. It says that Supreme Lord says, Aham Purno Bhavishyami Yuga Sandhyo Visheshadaha Maya Pure Navadive Bhavishyami Sachisudaha. That means in the first part of Kali Yuga, I will appear in my complete spiritual form in Mayapura, Navadiva, and become the son of Sachidevi. This is from the Garuda Purana. Garuda Purana also compiled by Srila Vyasadeva thousands of years back, and in all these scriptures, this very authenticate, very authorized scriptures reveals that the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the another place also it says that Garuda Purana, then there is the Supreme Lord who took delight in the pastimes with the gopis, who filled the residents of Vrindavana with joy day and night, who slew Kamsa and who made friends with the Pandavas in the battle between the Kauravas, will without any doubt come again to the earth He will be a sannyasi with the name Chaitanya, whose arm will be decorated with a bamboo stick. This is also from the Garuda Purana. So like that, dear devotees, so many scriptures reveals that. Narasimha Purana mentioned that. And then another scripture is called Padma Purana. It says that, Kale Pradama Sandhyaya Gaurangotamam Mahitale Bhagiradi Tale Remi Bhavishyami Sajisudaha. I shall take birth as a son of Sajisuda, Sachi, assuming a golden form in a beautiful place on the bank of Bhagirathi, Ganges, on the earth in the first part of Kali Yuga. Mayapura, the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya, is on the banks of Ganges. There is a similar verse on the Brahma Purana predicting the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. Even the place, even who is the mother, who is the father, is all revealed, dear devotees, in the scriptures. So, like that, there are so many scriptures, Narada Purana. Not taking much time on this one, as you all know that. So then Bhavishya Purana, and like that, Vayu Purana. So like that, Malsya Purana. So we can see that Skanda Purana. These are all the various Puranas. So it's very nice to understand this. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Krishna himself. Krishna Varnam, Trisha Akrishna. Krishna Varnam. That means he is, even though inside he is Krishna, but his outward, the color is Akrishna, the golden complexion color. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the main purpose, the reason for the incarnation of to spread the Yuga Dharma or to Sankirtanegya. So that Sankirtanegya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed through the Sri Shikshashtakam. In these 8 verses of the Shikshashtakam, then we will also go through that. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is revealing that what is the prime benediction, what is the foremost devotional path in this age of Kali. And from the different scriptures also quoting that, especially from the Brahmanda Purana, Brihat Naradiya Purana, Padma Purana, like that, various Puranas, revealing that Harirnama, Harirnama, Harirnama Iva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gadaranyada. In this age of Kali, there is no other way. There is no other way. There is another way to accept, to attain Krishna, except, unless we chant the holy name. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reveals in so many ways, and Shikshashtakam also reveals these various aspects of that, our devotional path. So this is all comprised in Shikshashtakam. So it teaches the Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. I think that many times we heard this word, Sambandha. Sambandha means, dear devotees, our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. So Shikshashtakam reveals that our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. And also it teaches the Abhideya, the process. So we will see that Shikshashtakam also reveals that the process, that how one can eternally connect, eternally have the relationship with the Supreme Lord. And then they also reveals the prayojana, the results of all this. So Shikshashtakam completely, as is mentioned, that this is the essence of all the scriptures, first of all. Then this 8 verses itself is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reveals that, see how one can attain the Supreme Lord. And there is a way, there is a process, and there is a relationship one can establish. All it explains into the Shikshashtakam. And as we all know that when we speak about the Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana, we know that there are 3 great personalities, Sri Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. They were the foremost disciples of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they understood the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they revealed the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even though Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just compiled these 8 verses. Sri Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Gopala Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. There are 6 Goswamis. They were the disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, expanded that in so many ways. That's why in the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we are known as Srila Rupanikas, because of the process. How one can attain, how one can develop, how one can establish the relationship with the Krishna, and how we can execute that process, and how one can attain this, the prayojana, the results, the love of Godhead. the six Goswamis elaborated and explained in such a way that one can easily get all this just by following. So that's why the Gaudiya Vaishnavas are known as Sri Rupanugas, because we are the followers of Sri Rupa Goswami. So, like that. So, Sri Sanatana Goswami is actually established the process of how one can develop the relationship with Krishna. He is called Sambandha Acharya, Srila Sanatana Goswami. So, there are Sandarbhas. Sanatana Goswami's Tattva Sandarbha, various books are which compile, which reveals that how one can establish the relationship with Krishna. Also, there is a deity also revealed that Radha Madan Mohana deity, one who worship Radha Madan Mohana deity and follow the steps of Sri Sanatana Goswami, it is mentioned that one can easily develop the relationship with Krishna. That's called Sambandha Gyan. So by this process, by following this, one can easily get the Sambandha Gyan, or the how one can establish relationship with Krishna. Also, Shikshashtakam also reveals this, the Sambandha Gyan. So the first few sections or first few verses also reveals the Sambandha Gyan. So like that, Abhideya, the processes. So Srila Rupa Goswami is the Abhideya Acharya, Srila Rupa Goswami. And then the Radha Govinda Dev deity is the Abhideya deity. So as is mentioned that we are Rupanugas, one who follows the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami. So then easily one can, the process, one can understand what are the easiest process one can attain Krishna, or one can attain that, the results of it. Then we come to the Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. They are the foremost disciples of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are not an ordinary souls. They were all the eternal associates of Krishna. Sri Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manchari, and then Sanatana Goswami is Riti Manchari, and Raghunath Das Goswami is Anagha Manchari. Like that, they were all the very close associates of Krishna. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested in this world, all these very close associates also came along with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why it's known as Sango Pankarsha Parshada. Parshada means associates. Such as whenever Lord comes down, he also comes along with the close associates. So they reveals this secret. These are the most confidential knowledge. We were going through Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the last few years, and we came to the chapter called the most confidential knowledge. That means the secret of secret, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam. So dear devotees, this is more and most confidential knowledge, because of Krishna himself reveals, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is revealing. And then those who understand the heart of the Krishna, they are the gopis, they are the mancharis. They are also revealing the heart of the Lord in such a way that, so that this is the best way. I mean, there are so many other ways of worship in this world, but we know that so many people goes to the temple and so many, does so many things. But even though their entire lifetime they don't develop this love for the Godhead, love of Godhead, right? So because of that, because they don't understand what is the right way, what is the purpose of all this, and who is God, and what is the way, and they don't have this Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana, the knowledge. So one should have this. The first and foremost, one should have this knowledge of Sambandha. Second is known as the Abhideya, how one can attain this. And the third one is called the Prayojana. So we are so fortunate to have we are connected with this Guru Parampara, and we are almost always that trying to understand the teachings of these six Goswamis, especially Sri Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. So Raghunath Das Goswami is considered as Prayojana Acharya because we know that when we look at the life of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, completely dedicated, and it says that every day Sri Raghunath Das Goswami paid obeisances 200, 300 times to all the Vaishnavas who comes to Vrindavan. Then only Sri Raghunath Das Goswami start all the other process, because he wanted to give the importance of the Vaishnava and take the dust from their feet. This was the utmost pure love for the Supreme Lord, that one can come to that very humble stage. And we know that one day Sri Raghunath Das Goswami goes there and very scorching heat under and sitting on a rock and compiling and writing. And this is the time one tiger was coming to drink the water. And this time Radharani was seeing this. Radharani personally came and guarded Sri Raghunath Das Goswami. And then tiger just came in the banks of the Radhakund, just drink the water and went away. And this is what is dear devotees, that how one can come to the stage of devotion and the pure devotion. So then let us come to this point where this teachings of Lord Chaitanya, this is also the part of the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. By receiving the mercy of the Radha Madan Mohana deity, and by studying the writings of the Sambandha Acharya Sri Sanatana Goswami, a devotee will attain Sambandha Gyan, or knowledge of one's spiritual identity. So this is called Sambandha Gyan, understanding what is one's spiritual identity and his eternal relationship with the Krishna. Srila Prabhupada states, Madan Mohana Sanatana Goswami's deity helps us to progress in Krishna consciousness. In the execution of Krishna consciousness, our first business is to know Krishna and our relationship with him, which we can learn by worshipping the Madan Mohana Vigraha. Why I'm saying this, I will reveal that just in a minute. So also we come to the Abhideya. So Sri Rupa Goswami is the Acharya of Abhideya, and he reveals how to execute devotional service. His deity, Radha Govindaji, accepts service and gives inspiration for increasing surrender on the path of Bhakti Yoga. By writing many books, Sri Rupa Goswami has very kindly established the scientific basis of Bhakti. Everyone should read this book, Nectar of Devotion, very attentively, because all the conclusive statements about the kingdom of Bhakti are contained in the transcendently valuable book. This is the Nectar of Devotion. The devotees may, after the few sections of the Ishopanishad, will be taking the Nectar of Devotion. So if anybody, doesn't have it, this Nectar of Devotion book, please take it. This is an absolute, amazingly wonderful compilation of Sri Rupa Goswami about how one can attain this nectar of the devotion, or the rasa, the mellows of the devotion. It is the essence of all Vedic scriptures, enlightening about Krishna consciousness. If anyone reads this Nectar of Devotion very carefully, he will have all guidance in the Bhakti Kant. So this is compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami. The Nectar of Instruction and the Nectar of Devotion, these two books are primarily that we can use for our Abhideya, or the process of how one can develop or establish a relationship with Krishna and identity, to understand the identity and the eternal relationship of Krishna. Then we come to this understanding of Prayojana. So Sri Raghunath Das Goswami is our Prayojana Acharya. The Gopinath, the deity, is Krishna's master and proprietor of the gopis, the totally surrendered devotees. As I mentioned that, Sri Raghunath Goswami exhibited that, totally surrendered to the Supreme Lord. He was the son of a Jamindar. That time, in 1500, almost every month, the Raghunath Das Goswami's father was collecting, Majumdar, was collecting almost 1 lakh of gold coin. 1 lakh of gold coin. So this was the richness of Raghunath Das Goswami. But when Sri Raghunath Das Goswami came to Jagannath Puri, just having this, butter, that what is called the chas, or the water which is washed by the rice, which comes through the, one of the, and that's what is Sri Raghunath Das Goswami drinking. One time, Raghunath Das Goswami drinking even that the water of the rice water, which contains in a tulasi leaves. So this was the austerity, because of one who is completely surrendered unto Krishna can do this. So the Gopinath deity represents the Prayojana Tattva, the truth about life's ultimate goal, pure love of Krishna. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami accepts the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami as his highest aspiration. He thus reveals the way to attain the perfection of one's loving relationship with Sri Krishna. Through humble praise and service to Radha Gopinath deity, and by imbibing the teachings and mercy, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, a devotee, can quickly advance in devotional service and ultimately attain the goal of life, which is Prema Bhakti. Dear devotees, these are the prelude of the understanding Shikshashtakam. That's why I just added this into this in this class. So here now, Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reveals that the Gaudiya Vaishnavas who follow strictly in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu worship the divinity by chanting the transcendental sounds meant to develop the sense of one transcendental relationship with the Supreme Lord. Sambandha and the reciprocation of mellows of mutual affection, abhideya, and ultimately the achievement of desired success in loving service, prayojana, Krishna prema. So, in simple, dear devotees, one who takes up the Shikshashtakam and understands the meaning, and one who engages into the loving chanting of the holy name seriously and purely, one can attain all this sambandha, abhideya, and prayojana at once. So that's the greatness of Shikshashtakam. That's I just wanted to reveal that from the scriptures. So as is mentioned that the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu scrupulously follow these principles approach. So dear devotees, we are Gaudiya, Brahma Madhava, Gaudiya Vaishnavas. We are Brahma Madhava, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, which reveals the importance of the following the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what is the primary and the foremost teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Param Vijayade Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So we come to this point, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Shikshashtakam. So we will go through and we will recite this verse today, and this is just a brief, and then we will understand what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meant and revealed it. So because of this is through these 8 verses, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealing himself, his heart, his teaching, his instructions, and what is the ultimate prayojana one can have, what is the processes, and how one can establish the relationship with Krishna through these 8 verses. So I would humbly request devotees can unmute and then start to recite this. So one by one, and then so that is just quickly. Then this is Shikshashtakam, and then we will understand what is Shikshashtakam. So then the other classes, the upcoming classes will reveal that in detail, each and every section in very, very detail. But this is just a very brief and the Shikshashtakam, so one can understand that what is Shikshashtakam. So I would humbly request, dear devotees, if you can unmute and recite this verse, so that way it gives the glimpses of what is the Shikshashtakam. So without further delay, devotees, you can unmute and start the first verse. Every devotee can try. Those who are, please go ahead. If you want to raise your hands, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Can I start?
Yes, please go ahead.
Cheto Darpanam Adinam Bhavamaha Dhava Nirvapanam Shreya Jairava Santikam Vitram Vidya Vadu Jivanam Anandam Puti Partanam Pratipatam Purnamrita Swadhinam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Yeah. So somebody wants to read the translation?
I can read Prabhuji, but I cannot see the screen.
Oh, okay.
Cheto, can I read it?
I think this is
cannot.
no,
It's just
Sajima.
me. Is it now I see it. Now I see.
Yeah. Try that.
Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtana, congregational chanting of the Lord's holy names, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. That Sankirtana movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
Yeah. So, next one, can somebody?
I think Neeru Mataji started it too.
Yeah, but I don't see the next one on my
Let
screen.
me-
No, it's the same. It's the same one. You have to read,
same
Mataji.
one.
Go to the next one.
Oh,
Go to the next one. Yeah.
Oh my Lord, your holy name alone can render
Oh no.
all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules of the chanting these names. Oh my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that have no attraction for them.
Okay. The next one, third one.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Please go ahead.
Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Thank you.
Fourth one. Anybody else? Please go ahead. Vijan Madaji, want to go?
Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisa kamaye mama janmani janmanishvera bhavatat bhakti re hetu ki tvai. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate the wealth, nor do I desire a beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
Yeah. Fifth one. Any other devotee? Yeah, go ahead, please. Who is reciting? We are not hearing. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, we can't hear.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that due to the time, I will continue with this.
I can say, Prabhu, I can
Yes,
try.
please go ahead. Yeah.
Ayi nanda tanuja kinkaram palitam mam vishamam bhava buddha kripayatva pada pankaja stita dhuli sadhisham vichantaya. O son of Maharaj Ananda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. 1 minute, I just flipped the. I am your eternal servitor, yet I have somehow or the other fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
Sixth one.
नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा पुलके निचितं बपू कदा तव नामग्रहणे भविष्यति. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly? I chant your holy name. When will my voice choke up, and when will be the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
Seventh one.
I can read if you want me.
Anybody else wanted to read? So everybody.
I can try, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead.
Yugayitam nimeshena chakshusha parivirshayitam shunyaya jagat sarvam Govinda virahiname. O Govinda, Feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, eighth, last one. Anybody?
आश्लिष्यवां पादरतां पिनस्तु माम् अदर्शनां मम मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वां विदधातौ लम्पटो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु से एव नापरः. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace and makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally.
Yeah, thank you so much, dear devotees. Nicely reciting, reading. So let us see. I mean, I am not going very detailed about this each verses because of that's our topic of next few weeks. So, but what we can understand from these 8 verses is starting from Chedo Darpana Marjanam, Bhaumaha Davakni Nirvapanam. There are 7 benefits which reveals just by chanting the holy name. Chedo Darpana Marjanam cleans the heart. It's full of dust, the mirror which is covered with full of dust. Cheda, this our heart is completely covered with all these impurities. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is revealing this how one can come to or establish the relationship or the sambandha gyan and the process of. So many things are explaining here in these 8 verses. The first, as I mentioned, that the sambandha gyan, abhidheya, and prayojana, and also it's actually 5 stages of bhakti even reveals into this 8 verses because of that is the essence of all the scriptures. How one can come to the stage of bhakti. That is the summum bonum of all the scriptures reveals. So these 8 verses, that's why, all the other 6 Goswamis and other Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur is considered 7th Goswami, is volumes of books compiled how one can, based on these 5 stages of bhakti and 3 processes, sambandha, abhideya, and prayojana. So here we can see that in these verses, there are sadhana bhakti, there is vaidhi sadhana bhakti, there is raganuga bhakti, there is bhava bhakti, and there is prema bhakti. And as we can progress through these first verses, like Chedo Darpana Marjanam, and it gives that what is the identity of the spirit soul. And it says that Chedo Darpana Marjanam Bhaumaha Davakni Nirvavana, it can eradicate that the forest fire of the impurities of the living entity. And when like that, one who chants the holy name, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself revealing that the most important aspects of this, in this age of Kali, the most important devotional aspect is to chant the holy name. And as we all know that initially, this Mahamantra, which was revealed in the Kali Sandharnopanishad, in the Kali Sandharnopanishad, which was revealed with starting with Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu removed this Om from this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then gave it to everyone. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed to Srila Haridas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu, go out and talk to the people, Jare Deko Tare Kaho Krishna Upadesh, and tell that to chant this holy name. They were going, Haridas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu going out and begging and catching the feet of each and everyone, and telling and begging and requesting to chant this holy name because of the Lord himself revealing this primary, the foremost of this age of Kali, that how one can establish the sambandha with the Supreme Lord is that to chant the holy name. And also in the second verse, also Krishna mentioning that he has invested all his potency in his name. So all we need to do is actually in this age, even though I know all this, but I don't have any faith in. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is requesting and revealing through these verses that one has to have the unalloyed devotion, unalloyed faith to the Supreme Lord, and unalloyed faith to this holy name. Then one can establish this relationship, that's sambandha. And also the practice, we know that the Sri Rupa Goswami reveals this. There are 5 stages of bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means by the regulative, devotional service. Sadhana bhakti means regulative devotional service. And Aganuga bhakti are continuous. or continuous process, continuous bhakti. And in that continuous bhakti, then we develop attachment. So Vaidhi sadhana bhakti means when there is rules or regulations involved, like devotees or spiritual master instructs us, okay, chant 16 rounds. That means there is a rules. Okay, you should follow this for regulative principles, and you should chant this holy name, and you should do this, do that. So this is called the Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. That means we follow the rules and regulations of chanting of the holy name, sit straight and sit and chant, and then don't do aparadas, offense to the holy name. All these rules and regulations, when one has to follow, that's called sadhana bhakti. Similarly, in these 8 verses of Shikshashtakam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reveals that, and how that one who reveals sadhana is in the 3rd verse. It says that Trinada Visunichana. How should one chant the holy name? One should chant the holy name with a very humble stage of humbler than blade of a grass, and a humbler than a blade of grass and taller than a tree. And one should chant in that state with a humble position. One should chant the holy name. So also giving that abhidheya, the process, and also the ways that the sadhana bhakti, and one how can rules and regulations, and how one can attain the prayojana, or the final stage of this bhakti. Then slowly that one, this is what is the revealing. This is the essence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to reveal, that one who chants this holy name, one can slowly, with this sadhana, we may be chanting 1 round, then we develop that 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 16 rounds. What happens? Naturally, we develop that taste for the holy name. When one developed the taste for the holy name, then he wanted to chant more and more. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, will see that in the later, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also relishes just by this. And even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was even reciting and reading his own verses, relishing that the attraction to Krishna and the feelings for Krishna. So that we can see. So this is the same. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself exhibiting, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also revealing through this 8 Ashtakam, this is Shikshashtakam, that how one can progress into the devotional service, and ultimately the attaining the prime, the foremost of the bhakti, that is to attain the love for the Godhead or the Krishna prema. So as we say that Vaidhi sadhana bhakti means which is rules and regulations involved. Then Raganuga bhakti is which is known as the attachment for Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that by continuously chanting this holy name, one develop attachment for Krishna. Then by continuing this chanting further and further, the one can develop, relish the sweetness, the taste the holy name, the taste the nectar of the holy name. Then what happens? One can come to the Bhava Bhakti. That's when the later versions that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that, Yugaidam Nimeshedana Chachusha Pravurshyayadam. Even in seconds, even the minute of the seconds is considered as kind of yuga. It's like a bhava. So by chanting the holy name, one can come to this stage. The devotees, that is the benefits, that's the essence of all this, our life. And that's the essence of the bhakti, to bring to one to that stage of pure devotion. That's why, Srila Haridas Thakur mentioned the Harinam Chindamani, that how one can come to the pure chanting. Unless we chant purely, we cannot taste this, the prema, the bhava and the prema, we cannot taste. So this is as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the prime benedictions of chanting of the holy name. Then we come to these beautiful verses like, where this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also relishes this. In the Antya Leela, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami very beautifully explains this, very beautifully reveals that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu formerly compiled this one, and when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went with the the Swarup Damodara and Ramananda Rai, many times Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relishes this Shikshashtakam just by going through, as is mentioned that. His nights tasting the meaning of Shikshashtaka prayers in the company of Swarup Damodara Goswami and Ramananda Raya. Sometimes he recited verses from Jayadev Goswami and Gita Govinda from Srimad Bhagavatam. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, just by even relishing, just by remembering these verses itself, they're relishing that the ecstatic symptoms, ecstatic feeling for the Krishna. So there are few verses like that in the Antya Leela, chapter 20. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reveals this to Ramananda Rai and the Swarup Damodara. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is quoting this into the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It goes like this: only the most fortunate will relish the mad words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which were mixed with jubilation, envy, agitation, submissiveness, and grief, all produced by ecstatic loving emotion. Day and night he tasted the transcendental blissful songs and verses with the two associates, namely Swarup Damodara Goswami and Ramananda Rai. He would recite his own verses, expressing their meanings and emotions, and thus enjoyed tasting them with these two friends. Sometimes the Lord would be absorbed in particular emotion and would stay awake all night, reciting related verses and relishing their taste. In great jubilation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "My dear Swarup Damodara and Ramananda Rai, know from me that chanting the holy name is the most feasible means of salvation in this age of Kali." The devotees, the Supreme Lord himself revealing this most confidential and secret knowledge that, especially in this age of Kali, chanting of the holy name is the foremost of all devotional path, devotional services, and one can easily attain the salvation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, in this age of Kali, the process of worshipping Krishna is to perform sacrifice by chanting the holy name of the Lord. One who does, this is the original where this Shikshashtakam is revealed one by one. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also revealing the meaning of this Shikshashtakam to the Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodara. And this is the heart, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealing his heart to his close associates so that we all can benefit. That's why Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the last chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita included this. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that in this age of Kali, the process of worshipping Krishna is to perform sacrifice by chanting the holy name of the Lord. One who does so is certainly very intelligent, and he attains shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. The devotees, what else? Supreme Lord himself is revealing this. Simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna, one can be freed from the all undesirable habits. This is the means of awakening all good fortune and initiating the flow of waves of love for Krishna. The devotees see that, how beautifully it is revealing that the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then, we just saw that Chedodarpana Marjanam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was reciting this verse, Chedodarpana Marjanam to Swarup Damodara and Ramananda Rai. So we just recited that verse. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, by performing congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, one can destroy the sinful conditions of material existence, purify the unclean heart, and awaken all varieties of devotional service. The result of chanting is that one awakens his love for Krishna and tastes transcendental bliss. So this is the prayojana comes to that and comes to the bhava and the prema. Ultimately, one attains the association of Krishna and engages in his devotional service, as if immersing himself in a great ocean of love. Lamentation and humility awoke within Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he began reciting another of his own verses. By hearing the meaning of that verse, one can forget all unhappiness and lamentation. So here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again recited his own verses. The second verse, Namna Makari Nija Sarva Shakti, Tatrarpida Niyamida Smaranena Kalaga. Reciting this verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was getting into so ecstasy. And that we can see that in the next verse, because people are very in their desires. You have distributed various holy names by your mercy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is relishing and revealing this and praying to the Lord, he himself, the Supreme Lord. But when he's talked to the Swarup Damodara and Ramananda Rai, addressing to the Krishna, your name is everything, and it can free from all the contaminations. Regardless of time or place, one who chants the holy name, even while eating or sleeping, attains all perfection. Dear devotees, this is what one has to have in the whole life, all the millions of lifetime, what one can achieve, one can get, is that this understanding, this conviction, and this, the foremost of the taste of the chanting of the holy name, and one can attain the perfection. You have invested your full potencies in each and individual holy name. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attachment for chanting your holy name. Why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is revealing here? The faith in the holy name is very, very important. Unless we have the faith in the holy name, we cannot progress, we cannot develop that the taste for the holy name. Then, as we know that, in the 10 offenses of the chanting of the holy name, there is an 11th offense. So see, there is an 11th offense. It is mentioned that inattentive chanting, even though we have so much, understanding, when we chant the holy name, there is an inattentive chanting. Why this inattentive chanting? Because of we don't have that love for the Lordships. We don't have the taste for the holy name. When there is no taste for the holy name, then there will be an inattentive chanting. So it is mentioned that inattentive chanting leads to all the other 10 offenses. All the other 10 offenses of the chanting of a holy name, because of when we have inattentive chanting. Why we have inattentive chanting? Because of we don't have the faith in the holy name. So dear devotees, that's what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted indirectly tell to everyone, that we should have that faith in the holy name. As Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says that, Nama Chindamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Bhinnatvam na Abhinnabi Namina Bhinnatva Abhinnatvam Nama Namino. There is no difference between Krishna's name and the holy name, and there is no difference at all. Bhakti Vinod Thakur reveals that Krishna has two forms. One is the form of like Vachya form, that we can see as it is Krishna in the form, original form. Then there is another form is called Vachaka form. Vachaka form means that his name, his primary name, Krishna, Govinda, Damodara, is all his Vachaka form. One who chants this name, then he is closely associating with Krishna. There is no difference between Krishna and his holy name. So this is called Vachaka form. So this is in the absolute platform. Whenever one who comes in contact with Krishna and Krishna's holy name, then there is no difference. Krishna, that person is completely associated with Krishna. It is mentioned that one who continuously chanting, pure devotional chanting, then what happened? One can even enter into the pastimes of the Supreme Lord with that. So I think there is okay, let me mute. Okay, so let's move to the next. Yeah, let's move to the next slide. Okay, so like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, O Sarup Damodara Goswami and Ramananda Rai, hear from me the symptoms of how one should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra awakens very easily one's dormant love for Krishna. As it's mentioned that the process of Abhideya, one who thinks himself lower than the grass and the tolerant than a tree. So we explained that in a great detail. So when one who chants the holy name in this mood, the devotees very quickly he attained that the success called the Krishna Prema. So there are, the other explanations here, how the tree and how the grass is there. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke in this way, his humility increased, and he began praying to Krishna that he could discharge pure devotional service. Praying to Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why? Because of his exhibiting as a personal example that we all should have that such mood, praying to Krishna every day to develop this love for Krishna. Whenever there is a relationship of love of Godhead, it is natural symptom is that the devotee does not think himself a devotee. Instead, he always thinks that he has not even a drop of love of Krishna. The devotees, this is revealing also the most important fact of most important melos of the rasa that one can derive from this relationship with Krishna is one who always feeling of separation or vipralamba. When one who always feeling that feeling of separation, he relishes more and more and more, the taste, the nectar of that, the devotion. And he relishes that mellow. And he always feels that the Lord is nearby. So he endeavor himself to get more closer and closer. So he relishes such a mellow when one has it. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also reveals that when one comes to that stage of when one develops the taste for it, one should always feel that he is humbler. That means he is not a devotee, but he is the lowest of all the devotees, and he is ready to render the service for all the other devotees. So how beautiful it is. So this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also exhibiting himself. So like this. So like this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is revealing this and telling all this to, then Shikshashtakam, and this is the way that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recite his own verses and says that, my dear Lord Krishna, I do not want material wealth from you, nor do I want followers. This is exactly that the fourth verse of the Na Dhanam, Na Janam, Na Sundari. So, because of when one comes to this understanding of that Krishna is everything, then everything else is very insignificant, and there is no value for in the path of devotion. So that's what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to show and exhibit, that the humility is the key. And we all have to have the dear devotees and aspirant of this Shikshashtakam and the devotion. We all have to develop this humility in our life. All have to have. Everybody else is a devotee, and I'm not a devotee like this here. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is then further goes like, the Sambandha, Abhidya and Prayojana, then Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti, and then come to the stage of very beautifully. And it says that without love of Godhead, my life is useless. Therefore, I pray that you accept me as your servant and give me the salary of ecstatic love of Godhead. So this is what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dear devotees, one who constantly chant the holy name, one who comes to that stage of Krishna Prema or the love of Godhead Krishna. So Shikshashtakam is an ocean of knowledge. Shikshashtakam is the ocean of the nectar of that how one can attain the Krishna Prema. So in this so many ways, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is revealing and relishing himself that the nectar of the Shikshashtakam. And here it says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then later become, that is the Prema Bhakti when it comes to the last verse of this one. Asal Shiva Padu Pinastamam Adarsanana Marma Karodumam Yada Tadava Vibudatu Lambadu Mat Prana Nadastu Sa Eva Navara. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Lord Krishna has become indifferent to me just to test my love, and my friends say better to disregard him. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in that stage with Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodara, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is behaved like Srimati Radharani and started to talk like this. While Srimati Radharani was thinking in this way, the characteristics of natural love become manifest because of her pure heart. The ecstatic symptom of envy, great eagerness, humility, zeal, and supplication all became manifest at once. So this is what we can say, that all these Ashta Bhav, Ashta Satik Bhav, various other mana and all those bhava that which creates. So this is the stage of bhava and prema. This is only on the pure devotional platform one can relish this. Otherwise, we cannot understand this as well. So only when we come to that pure devotional path, only by chanting of the holy name. In that mood, the mind of Srimati Radharani was agitated, and therefore he spoke a words advanced devotion to her Gopi Prats. In the same spirit of ecstasy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited that verse, and as soon as he did, so he felt like Srimati Radharani. So dear devotees, and this is what it is revealing that. So I'm now, it's getting over a little bit. So, So then Srimati Radharani started to speak like that, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaking like that. These statements by Srimati Radharani show the symptoms of pure love for Krishna tasted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, dear devotees, why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibiting this? Because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to show that by this process of chanting of the holy name, one can come to that stage of bhava and the prema stage. So, like this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed the Shikshashtakam and revealed and the relishness of that, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibit this and exemplified and to the Sri Swarup Damodara and to Ramananda Rai. So we also, why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed that? Because of the followers also wanted to come to that stage. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in fact, the book ends with the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lost in ecstasy. This is Shikshashtakam, Vande Leela. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami mentioned that lost with ecstasy. So this is the Prayojana. This is the Krishna Prema that one can attain just by this understanding the meaning of the Shikshashtakam. And understanding the meaning of Shikshashtakam means one can come to that stage of pure love, that Krishna Prema. And actually, that is very symbolic because Chaitanya Charitamrita purposes to inspire us to also become similarly lost in ecstasy, to become similarly absorbed in remembrance of Krishna. And in that sense, the Lord lives on through his ecstatic instruction. So this is the essence of Shikshashtakam, that why Chaitanya Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami compiled, so that we all can come to that stage of pure devotion. So that's why we added this into our classes, that this Shikshashtakam. And another instance is when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Damodara Ramananda Rai visited Sri Rupa Goswami one day. And that time, Sri Rupa Goswami compiled one verses about this. The Rupa Goswami could understand the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu insisted Sri Rupa Goswami to recite that verse. So Rupa Goswami recited that verse, Sri Rupa Goswami compiled. And the meaning of that verse is like this: I do not know how much nectar that two-syllable Krishna have produced. When the holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within the mouth. When then desire many, many mouths, when that name enters the halls of the ears, we desire many, many millions of years. And when the holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind. And therefore, all the senses become inert. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted this verse, Haridas Thakur, upon hearing the vibration, became jubilant and began to dance while praising its meaning. The devotees, we do not understand. We do not understand the meaning of Krishna. We do not understand how much that Krishna means. So here, Srila Rupa Goswami and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reveals that what is that meaning, that the name Krishna means is the whole world. Everything is in that Krishna, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed. Everything is invested in that name of Krishna. So, dear devotees, so it is mentioned that it is a unique and highest development of love of Godhead that is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Shikshashtakam is nothing but the unique and the highest development of love of Godhead. So that's why it's so important to understand this Shikshashtakam. So one should thoroughly understand, recite and understand each and every verses. This is the instruction, that this is the base of our devotion, dear devotees. Only on this base that one can come to the pure devotional platform. Unless and until we come to this pure devotional platform, we cannot understand this, devotional path. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally, that's the Yuga Dharma. That's why the purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance to reveal this confidential knowledge to us, how one should develop the bhakti to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So with this note, I would end here. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Sri Shikshashtakam ki jai. So thank you so much for being there, and I hope that it was beneficial hearing this, the introduction of the Shikshashtakam. So thank you so much, dear devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And I would also like to hear your comments, and then we can progress further, improve further. And would also like, if you have any questions or concerns or any comments, please reveal and please open up so that we can understand. Hare Krishna. Please unmute yourself if you can. Hare Krishna. Am I audible? Are you able to hear me, or?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Okay. I thought I was just speaking to the mute. Or...
No, actually, I was able to join, but little late.
Okay.
But yes, I did go through the message you already posted in the group.
Okay, very good. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yes, that shows your interest. And this is called the mercy of the Lord. So that naturally it comes to our heart. Then we come in contact and we understand, and slowly we develop this bhakti.
Yes, very nice. And it was like easy to understand. My only question, like the way it is like for chanting 16 rounds. So for this, like Shikshashtakam, is there any like count for chanting, or one time, or for these?
I didn't understand. So you are saying that, is there any reference here in Shikshashtakam that one should chant 16 rounds or one should chant one round? I mean,
yes.
Is that the question? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, understood. Okay. So there is, it's what is called, there is no specific count for that one should chant the holy name. It is as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that one should chant the holy name always. Always chant the holy name. It's not that, okay, we should chant the holy name once in a day and then stop there and do all the other things. So it says that Param Vijayade Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, that all the victory and glories to the holy name of Krishna, holy name of. So one should chant Hari, Govinda, Krishna, especially Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, as maximum as possible. Yes, we all understand that we are all beginning in this process. That's why we come to this sadhana bhakti. Sadhana means that also why the sadhana bhakti means that as per the instructions of Shiksha Guru, as per the instructions of Guru, spiritual master, or as per the instructions of senior devotees, we take up these steps. Like somebody says that, okay, chant 1 round or 16 rounds. So then we review ourselves, right? You see that, okay, with my condition is I'm just beginning in this process. So I need a mercy. So in order to progress further, so senior devotees, Shiksha Guru, or whomever you are connected will tell you that, understanding your current situations, you may be a mother, you may be mother of 5 children, you may be working, you have so many things to do in your day-to-day life. So then they will give you that mercy as well as instruction. Okay, maybe you can chant 5 rounds or 6 rounds a day. So when we have this process on every year on the appearance day of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that is called, the appearance day of, Gaura, what is called, appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that's the day that
Gaura Purnima.
Gaura Purnima, yes, Gaura Purnima, I'm missing that. Gaura Purnima, that day, this devotees comes forward and they take a pledge. Okay, on this day onwards, I take a vow of chanting 1 round, chanting 4 rounds, chanting 8 rounds, chanting 12 rounds, chanting 16 rounds, and then beyond 16 rounds and like that. So it's known as Gauranga Sadhakas, one who chants the 4 rounds, and Srila Prabhupada Sri 16 rounds, Gauranji Shikshaka, Sadhakas, like that. So that means with the instructions of a guru or whoever is, in front of that Lord, and give that instruction, okay, you chant 8 rounds, or chant 6 rounds. So you take a vow, and then we chant. So then what happens when you follow that instructions? This is called Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Follow that instructions, and also there are some rules. Rules are there. That means, okay, refrain from all these illicit activities, no intoxications, and perform some devotional service at the temple once in a month, once in a week. So this is the way gradually we develop. We don't jump into that 16 rounds overnight. If somebody does it, somebody can have that capacity and the mercy. But if you feel that when we chant, if you go down, like one who started to chant 16 rounds and he's not able to chant, does not have any taste for chanting of the holy name, what happens? Eventually he will lose it. He will drop it. He will not chant again. So rather than, we should start very small baby steps, that maybe whatever the capacity we can chant, but we have that the faith and the love for the Lord. That's the foremost of it. We should have that the faith in the holy name. We should have faith in the devotees. We should have faith in the Krishna. With that faith, Adau Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya. This is Sri Rupa Goswami reveals that Adau Shraddha, we should have that complete faith in the holy name and Krishna, then associate with the devotees. That means collect the instructions from their devotees and Shiksha Guru. And then what happens? Then, Asau Shraddha Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya. Chant the holy name. What are the rounds we can chant? Not necessarily that we should chant 16 rounds, Madaji, as we are a grihastha, as we are just practicing the words called, we are called Sadhaka Bhaktas. We are not Bhav Bhaktas or Prem Bhaktas. We are in the beginning, Sadhaka Bhaktas. And Sadhaka Bhaktas are actually goes as per the instructions. So we follow that instruction because we don't have any other Shakti, because we cannot overcome this Maya. It's very difficult. So we need mercy. So how do we get the mercy? Mercy when we have the faith in the instructions of the Guru and instructions of the devotees. When we have faith in the instructions of Guru and devotees, we get the mercy. Then with that Shakti, we can overcome, and then we develop the taste for the holy name. Then slowly, When we don't chant a day, then we will feel that, depression, and we feel that, the feeling of separation, and we chant. So we develop this taste. So slowly, slowly, we should get there. And there is no that, okay, one should chant 16 rounds. No, initially. But there is, when a devotee like take an initiation from Guru, Diksha initiation, in that time, or one who aspire a Guru, and the Guru says that, okay, you should chant 16 rounds regularly, and then, and at least for 6 months, once 1 year. And then that Guru gives the Diksha. That's why he get the Harinam Diksha. He gets the name. His name is changed to another very devotional name. And then he completely now dedicated and connected with the Guru Parampara. Then that's the time, one should definitely chant 16 rounds minimum. And when Ekadashi comes and roll 25 rounds and so many other things, we chant more and more, right? So this is the way that we develop and connect to we establish the relationship with Krishna, the Sambandha. Did I explain that? Did you understand what is exactly needed?
Yes, that is about the holy name chanting. And about these 8 Shikshashtakam that you posted in the group. So that is for the knowledge, or is this for recitation also?
Yes, every day in the temple we recite. So everybody should recite by heart and understand the meaning of it, because of this is the essence of all our sampradaya. This is the essence of, and this is the base of everything, right? The holy name, the base, how one can stop the relationship, how one can progress with following that process, and then how one can relish that the Krishna Prema, the goal of this all, that how one can relish the love of God. So one should understand this and by heart this, and every day we should recite this verse. And also in the temple after the Mangala Arti, in the temple, every temple of our Gaudiya Vaishnavas recite this Shikshashtakam prayers, so that we understand and imbibe. It's like, Sri Rupa Goswami says that this name and this one should hang on their, neck all the time and carry along with it. One should hang this name, holy name, and all this instruction on their neck and carry all the time. So the devotees, and this is work that we can develop. This is our base. Unless we understand these primary principles, or this tattva, the basis of all this, and how one can progress. Everything else is like, kind of the sentimental or mental speculations, or we are just imitating and all, right? So this is the base of everything that one should understand. Then only we can develop and the pure devotion and progress nicely in the path of devotion.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, very nice. I really like these 8 points, and I'm looking forward to the more.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Hari
Krishna. Yeah. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mudaji.
Thank you for the awesome session today. So I just had a question about, like from tomorrow, Purushottam Mass is starting, Purushottam month.
Yeah.
So any direction from your side, any guidance or anything that you think that would help us progress in devotion? Obviously, I'm planning to increase my rounds, but and sorry, my pronunciation is really bad. At least once a day, Shikshashtakam I would be reciting, and that's this one was really good to kind of like understand the meaning. Anything else that you can, and any other senior devotees can guide us, please?
Yes, definitely. I would humbly, suggest that. Yes, please increase your chanting. How many, whatever the rounds you are now, increase that at least couple more, or whatever the capacity you can. And not only that, understanding this is Shikshashtakam, right? That's what is the best, the faith and the taste that develop the holy name. You should have the complete faith in the holy name. And when you chant the holy name, do not think anything else. Try to focus on the holy name of Krishna. That's the first thing and the foremost. We have classes on every day's, morning. At 6:30 we have Bhagavatam class, and it's recommended that. Yeah. Do you join that classes, Bhagavatam class?
I not frequently.
Okay. Yeah. So it's recommended that, especially on this Purushottam Mass, it's the month of, the Lord, Supreme Lord Himself, the deity, Supreme Lord Himself, the one who hears about His glories and the pastimes, that gets million times beneficial than any other time. So would I humbly request, join all this and chant the holy name and free from and stay away from all the somebody's okay. Okay, so stay away from all these unwanted, unnecessary things like, I don't know what is your condition like, if you are taking any coffee or onion, garlic, try to avoid all these things and be swatik, right? Don't eat anything like which is outside or which is not offered to Krishna, especially on this month. Take as a vow. This is our sacrifice and penance, right? And take that whatever that which is offered to Krishna. If you are not offering to Krishna or the lordships, at least try to do that and offer once in a day at least to what you are cooking, and just cook for the Lord and offer to Him and take that. And also minimize, we have a habit of eating like 3 or 4 times a day. Try to control and minimize so that, and always have that conscious. So we will purify in this way, right? So I think when you have the prasadam, Krishna prasadam, and hear the glories, associate with the devotees, come to the temple and have that consciousness, develop that consciousness that I am doing something in this month, right? I'm doing this penance, I'm doing these austerities. So it purifies us. So that's why the another purpose of all this, continuously when you observe this, our penance and the austerity, and this purifies our consciousness. We develop more and more taste for holy name and Krishna, and we understand the science. So then we situate more in the pure devotion, pure, consciousness.
Right. Thank you so much.
That you can specify whatever you can do, just put a list, write a paper, this is what is I'm going to do, and stick with it.
Yeah, that's kind of like a breath or vow.
Yes, breath and vow, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
No problem. Thank you so much. Okay, I think I saw Madhuri Prabhu. Madhuri Prabhu, would you like to bless us with your any words so that we all can take it?
No, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Any message?
It's a wonderful session. 8 verses. Mahaprabhu did not write any books. He empowered his disciples to write books. But he himself gave these 8 verses, instructions in form of Shikshashtakam, and in that comprehensively is the entire Yuga Dharma of establishing the Sankirtan Yagya is included in these 8 instructions. So it's a very nice endeavor, and I encourage everyone to attentively participate in hearing these 8 instructions nicely and understanding it. And especially with Adhik Mas, Purushottam Mas starting from tomorrow, it's very good that we are starting just a day before the start of the Purushottam Mas and going almost like 2 weeks in Purushottam Mas, hearing about Shikshashtakam. So that's very good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madhuri Prabhu. Vajranav Prabhu, you wanted to say, you raise your hand.
Yes, Prabhuji. I wanted to ask you like a question related to Dandavat Pranams. It's not related to not directly related to Shikshashtakam, but yeah, I always had this question. Okay, when we do Dandavat Pranam to deities, right, and we make sure that the deities are on our left hand side. So somebody asked me, so I forgot actually. So why, the deities have to be on our left hand side?
Okay. Yes, that's the. My understanding is that that's our humble. We are taking that humble position that it's not that we overcome, or when we go to the right side, that means we are surpassing, right? We are overcoming or overtaking or something like that. Then that may not be right. And it always, we should have that very humble position from the beginning or from the left. That's why everything, right? Start from the beginning, from the left, we come to that. So that's also signifies that our humility, that we start from the left side of it, not that overtake and go on the top and then from there to come. It's not that we go to the temple. What we do, first we pay the obeisance to all the Vaishnavas before even going to the deities. Then we come to Srila Prabhupada from the left side. So we don't overtake. That means also that's another way of, even if you go to temple, many temple mention that don't overtake, don't go to cross the vision, or don't cross the direct sight of the Lord, right? That's why many temple that from the outside itself we can see the Lord, so that we don't go in straight or stand in front of the Lord. And as it's mentioned that we should take also always on the left side, so that it's also represents that our humility and humble way of worshiping. And so that's the one thing. Second thing is also in our Gaudiya Vaishnava system, Sampradaya, that we pray to the Srila Prabhupada, and we come to if there is Gauranita, we offer the obeisances first to the Gauranita. And many temples in our Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Gauranita on the right side of the Lord. That means on the left side, when devotees comes, they start from there. Then we go to the higher, that's Supreme Lord. And even that when there's a Mangalarati, right? Nobody goes in front of directly to the Lordships and Krishna, but he start from the beginning, start from the so that shows our humble nature. Otherwise, we always have this kind of, okay, let me go in front. Let me go in front always, right? So one time, Sri Ranadhan Maharaj took a lot of the devotees to the South India trip. I think the devotees came, there are around 5,000 devotees. Somebody was there. You were there that time? Somebody, yeah, I think. So one devotee was there, and he was rushing and coming in the front and wanted to go in the front. He wanted to pay the obeisance. And Dhamma said, why did you come here to go to hell? Have to have, that. So we always have to have that humility in our all respect. So this started from there. Right. And that's our, that's Acharyas, our, spiritual masters. Everybody teaches us that we should go from the left to the right, or from the bottom to top, like that.
One more, Prabhuji. So, when we do Dandavat as men, right? When we do Dandavat to Tulsi Maharani, someone told me that we should not do complete Dandavat. We should just do the half Dandavat. Which one is true? Like,
which one, for Tulsi Maharani?
Yeah.
No, actually, I think that may be a confusion. For Madhajis, they should not do the complete Dandavat.
Yeah, they would never do.
Prabhujis,
right? Yeah, for Prabhujis, yeah.
Prabhujis should have to do complete Dandavat.
Even for Tulsi Maharani also.
Even why not?
Yeah, somebody told me that for Tulsi Maharani, we should not do complete Dandavat. So
I never heard about it, and I never came across any of those, reading or anything that wherever we go, even Vrindavan, right? Wherever we go, our Sampradayas, everybody give the complete, Dandavats to Tulsi Maharani too, because of who are we even to give half Dandavat to Tulsi Maharani? What is our position? We should always have that humble position. Dandavats even to the insignificant, and we should, as it says that, we should give that Dandavats to each and every living entity. Even Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, as we are talked today, in whoever comes to in Vrindavan, paying Dandavats to each and every Vaishnavas, it goes like 200, 300, 400 in every day, paying Dandavats to the Vaishnavas comes. And Tulasi Maharani is the topmost Vaishnava. And I don't know who is saying all these things, but should always have some little logic too, right? I don't know any reason for that. We should give half the Dandavats to Tulasi Maharani.
Okay, yeah, I was not sure whether there was something Shastric reference, or I was not sure, so that's why. I have this question.
Madhuri Prabhu, do you know anything like any reference or anything that?
No, was we covered nice. So, the former, the earlier question about left also in our temple, especially when we offer straight downwards to the Lord, our feet will face Srila Prabhupada, and that's also an offense.
Right.
So that's why it's always done sideways, and as Simheshwar Pr explained, left to right, like our altar deities, even at home, it should be from left to right, like left being our spiritual master, and then if you have frame, that's how it's also arranged like that. So the obeisance is also offered left to right. And Simheshwar Prabhu nicely explained that, yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else? Any other things to reveal? Any other discussions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
A question again about the Mangala Aarti, as mentioned long time back. I heard when we were like growing up during school days, college days, like this early morning, like Brahma Muhurat time, whatever the puja or the Aarti is, mostly for priests who are like trained or have knowledge or degrees or Shastra knowledge, is for them, not for the public or like people who are not like trained to do this. And later on, like in Hindi, I don't know, we used to call like चार पहर होते हैं जैसे दिन के, like 4 kal, and this the early morning one is for the priests only. Like somehow I remember this vaguely.
Some lazy people were there, Madaji, and they didn't want to attend all these programs, so they just came up with all these excuses, right? Brahma Muhurta Prabhu, according to our scripture, one has to get up early in the morning, 1.5 hours, 90 minutes before the sunrise. One should get up and offer the praise and all the worship, and one should get up and chant and the praise and offering. That's why every temple we used to go when we were, my temple, our temple was very close by. We used to go early morning. We get up, everybody was there. So, many times that's what is one thing reason. There are lots of misinformation out there, Madhuri. That's why it's very important. Srila Prabhupada gave so beautiful procedures and so beautiful way of how to worship. That's the greatness of this. And so many people came out from this misconception. There are so many misrules out there, in this world. Okay, do this, don't do that. So many don'ts then rather than doing anything. And even there are some don'ts, even if somebody wanted to go and then, where is the scripture mentioned that all this? There's no scripture mentioned like that. This is all just people, some idea, mental speculations and concoction ideas. So just follow the Srila Prabhupada's. Srila Prabhupada recommended, get up in the morning, 90 minutes early. If possible, you are nearby the temple, go to temple and take the darshan of that, the first darshan of the Lord. It's most powerful in the Brahma Muhurta. And our consciousness, our brain, everything is so fresh. And then we can enter into the more relishable, more, that situate in that pure consciousness. So unless, we come down to the road, there are lots of other things comes. So why it is mentioned that our conscience should be pure? Because of we can relish, we can understand more and develop the taste, love for the lordships. That's ultimate aim for it. So everybody should do that. Our Acharya, Srila Prabhupada especially recommended, even it's who says that, even Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Jiva Jago, get up the sleeping soul. Says that the praise, and there are so many volumes of instructions out there. One should get up in the early morning before, 90 minutes before the sunrise, engaging in the loving devotional service. And if temple is nearby, go to temple and take the darshan of the Lord. Like that. Yes, there are some, what is called, we called like there are various sampradayas are there, Mataji. Like many are actually apasampradayas, and they have a lot of restrictions. Like, when we there are three kinds of worship: worship in the mode of goodness, worship in the mode of passion, and worship in the mode of ignorance and all, right? So there are, yes, you could see that some temples may kind of have these kinds of in the ignorance or in the passion. There are some restriction that is those. But in the case of real pure worship of the Supreme, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the second verse, there is no rules and regulation. Namna Makari, there is Sarva Shakti, Tatrarpida Niyamida Smaranena Kalaha. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord himself reveals that. There is no rules or regulation. There is no time for even, that, okay, you should worship on this time. You can worship any time to the Supreme Lord. See that right itself, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reveals that, right? That's what is we need to take. Not like, going or hearing many people. That's why it's very important. Srila Prabhupada says that even the milk is very pure, but if it is touched by a serpent, the tongue of a serpent it has a poisonous effect. That's why we should always avoid this, we should avoid this asanga, asanga tyag. Should always avoid this kinds of, this we can misdirect and we can get a lot of misrule and we then confuse with us. And then we don't know what to do, to worship. Remove, free from all those and follow these instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's what we are getting into, nectar of instructions, nectar of devotion, Shikshashtakam, and all these. Srila Prabhupada wrote volumes of book, like more than 80 volumes of book. All this reveals this very beautifully, dear devotees, especially, the sort of beginning. Just try to read all these books. All the instructions are there. Just follow that strictly. And then we don't have to worry about anything else, but just follow this and we all can, attain that pure love of Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hari Bol.
Thank you so much. It's nice to have such wonderful questions, and that shows itself that, that eagerness, that's a faith and eagerness, that's what is foremost that we all need to have.
Yes, actually, when you are little or when you are growing up, whatever you hear or those things get stuck in your mind. And I remembered, I think they were not even opening temple to public at that time, and or opening only the side gate only, suppose if it's Monday or Savan month for the Shivling, for the Abhishekam, but the main like Radha Krishna temple or like it was Gita Mandir, that was not open to public during 3 or 4 a.m. So only like for public demand, they were opening side door or some few things like that.
I mean, that we can, there are some restrictions to the temple, like for example, when the bhoga is offering to the lordships, nobody is allowed to enter in that temple. Yeah. And certain abhishek is going on, right? Sometimes, the altar is closed for that. It's only inside abhishek. That is just for the convenient purpose, right? And also like bhoga, abhishek, certain times that the temple is not open for everybody. Because of that is, we can understand that since beginning that there are restrictions there. That is just to keep that the sanctity of the temple and purity of the temple and all those things, right? Yeah, every temple has their own way of, there are certain procedures to follow. That is understandable, but just in case that it's not publicly allowed, but Mangalarti is allowed for everyone in our temple.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Okay. Madhuri Pro, would like to add anything?
No. It's all covered nicely.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Anybody else would like to, any comments, any other concerns, questions? Okay, if not, let's conclude then today's session, and tomorrow the first verse of Sri Shikshashtakam, and there are 7 benefits of Shikshashtakam. The first verse will be covering the first 2 benefits that itself can speak Lord. And then please join, don't miss, and I would humbly request, this is the greatest mercy that we can have from the Lordships, from the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why all this is coming together and we are understanding deep in the subject matter, understanding and relishing the science of this Krishna consciousness and how one can develop it. It's not mercy. Unless we have the mercy, we cannot do 1 inch. You cannot even hear anything. So remember all this, and please be there so that we can progress together. That's the aim for it. Okay. Please join tomorrow. And tomorrow is Purushottam Mandi starting. So as mentioned, please increase your, devotional services. There are temple programs, and you can come to the temple, even come for Mangalarti if you are interested. And come to the temple, at least have this kind of habit, come to the temple and take darshan of the Lordships, especially in this month. Read Shikshashtakam, read Srimad Bhagavatam, chant the holy name, whatever the way you hear this, wherever you go, and focus on that. No other business in this month, right? No other business in this month. Worship the Tulasi, worship Guru, and so many things. And you can associate. We have so many, opportunities and facilities. Bhakti Rishas are out there, Bangalore Saturday programs, and so many. Please try to be with the devotees. That is our strength. Otherwise, what happens? Our strength will diminish. We need to have strength every day to progress. We need to have where we get from the strength? From the devotees and association. We get that. So we don't miss this association, and please join.
Also coming Saturday is also Gita Nagari Rath Yatra.
Yeah.
So devotees would like to go. Please take this wonderful advantage. Gita Nagari Rath Yatra. It's a nice Rath Yatra in the farm itself. And it's nice experience.
We'll post some flyers, right, Proji, about the group.
Yeah.
Any bus provider, Prabhuji?
No, if somebody wants to.
Okay.
No, no
Okay, Prabhuji.
Kitanagiri is like 3.5 hours. So
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
wonderful. Okay, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, this Rath Yatra. What are the timings of this Rath Yatra? If it's like a 3.5 hour drive, so I hope it's like same thing like Atlanticity.
Yeah. It will start at around 12 o'clock or so, Motherji. So no, it's yeah. So
okay.
We have to.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay.
Hari Bol.
Very good. Okay, thank you so much. So let's conclude today's session, and we'll pray together. Vacha kalpatarubhashya, Sindhu Shikshashtakam ki jai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Gaura Nitai ki jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.